spots, but a loss can still get them in if Buffalo and the Chargers both lose. This Sports Flash is brought to you by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. I'm Tony DeZuri, 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities, where every day is game day.
Tri-City Sports Now, I'm Marky Billson. So I want to thank Steve Forbes, and he'll join us next week. Stay tuned for that. College football playoffs. It begins on Monday. The NFL playing, of course, they've got the monopoly on the weekend. NFL not playing on December 31st, not playing on New Year's Eve night. And remember, originally, the college football playoff wanted to make New Year's Eve night college football night for the playoffs. And they're not doing that this year and may not do that again. They felt that the ratings on that time slot, that time, December 31st, everybody going to parties, all this, was not conducive to having the viewership for these big games that they would have liked. Now, I've watched December 31st, New Year's Eve, football and all that. Of course, I'm a football fan. And truthfully, yeah, sometimes if it's your team playing, and yeah, sometimes in the past it was my team playing on that time slot, I kind of liked watching that ball game a little bit more than trying to schmooze with people I didn't know. Or, going out just because you felt you had to go out. Have a good time New Year's Eve. Don't get me wrong, if that's your cup of tea. But sometimes, yeah, I being the diehard sports fan, I'd rather watch the game, I guess the casual sports fan, that's what they try to get. And this year's college football playoff games are de facto Monday Night Football. So the idea, we'll see how the ratings go, if that makes it more prestigious, if that makes it more, if that makes it more interesting, or it makes it more popular, I should say. Interesting, I don't think it's going to have one bit. But the NFL isn't even playing a Sunday night game. Of course, a Sunday night game, there isn't, what Sunday night game would you schedule? If there was one must-watch game, what would it be? Would you schedule the Eagles and Cowboys, which we're going to have at 1 p.m. here in 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities? Even though it's a lame duck game, could it be Jason Witten's last game? Likely not. He wants to come back. He's signed a lengthy contract, but it's a potential storyline. Question here. Could you have a circumstance where, Titans-Jaguars? Neither one of those teams are big markets, but yeah, Titans are win and in. And frankly, it's more than likely that you would have the Bills and the Chargers deciding their playoff fates. Obviously, if either of those two teams lose, they're out. I guess that could be a fear that, yeah, then it's a total lame duck game if you were to play it at 8:30 between the Titans and Jaguars, if those two teams lose. But guess what? The Bills aren't going to lose to the Dolphins, and the Chargers aren't going to lose to the Raiders. And you know what else? If I'm wrong about that, I'm wrong on one game. I'm not wrong on two. You really think both the Raiders and Dolphins are going to win this week? Really? That's what makes this Titans game a must-win to get into the playoffs. Don't give them a lot of hope to win in the playoffs. The Jacksonville Jaguars saying they're going to play their starters. That's great. But again, do you really think you're going to see some really fancy trick play then in that game? Or are they going to play it close to the vest and not want to give anything up to the Titans, who they'd likely play, well, they would play, if the Titans won the game the next week? Assuming a Baltimore victory, of course, against Cincinnati in what might be Marvin Lewis's swan song. Up to 10 coaches in the NFL this year may be coaching their last game this Sunday. Up to 10. And then it'll be interesting to find out who, if anybody, from the college ranks goes pro. It'll be interesting at that point to find out who the hot assistants going where. Will there be more of a re-emphasis on youth, what with the success of the Rams this year? I mean, it's a lot of stuff. Could Jeff Fisher reemerge? If Malarkey is canned, could Jeff Fisher reemerge as the Titans coach? Interesting storylines to watch during this and next month in the NFL, certainly. Bristol Motor Speedway has announced changes to the short track at the U.S. Nationals. That's an event that occurs in mid-May, as you may know. Getting more in line with short track racing events, each night of competition will now feature a late model division race. And to make it more cost effective for the drivers, the schedule has been changed where every division spends a maximum of 2 days on the track, only 2 days. For the featured super late models, the winner's purse has been more than doubled. It's $12,000. All the competitors who start will earn at least $1,200. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot to keep a race car going, but anyway. The week before the big weekend of racing, an open test date has been set for Saturday, May 12th. The inaugural event featured nearly 350 cars with up to 13 drivers. So if you like local racing, if you like that, and you know what? Believe it or not, I am a fan of that. I used to have friends who would drive stock cars in the Charger series. I would go watch them, the 15-lap races and such. In many ways, I liked that because it was short and concentrated, and it wasn't, 500 laps or I guess it's not 500 laps, but you get the idea. So many laps, 500 laps in Bristol, certainly. And after a while, the monotony of that sometimes takes place and such. I know the idea is you never know when something's going to happen, especially at a short track, a lead change, a wreck. I get that. But still, a lot of times that concentrated 15-lap race can be a lot more intriguing than a big, laid-out Monster Energy Cup Series race lasting so many laps. So anyway, Bubba Wallace, remember, he won the main event for the super late models. Other winners, Myatt Snyder, who's the son of NBC TV reporter Marty Snyder, and Chad Poole in the modified division. So there you go. Some May activity, not major, but fun for the locals. And maybe you see somebody going on this May 18th to the 20th at BMS. It's something that a NASCAR fan, local NASCAR fan, a diehard, should definitely check out. When I come back, I'm going to talk to my old friend, Chris Adamski. Adamski's been inside the Steelers locker room all year long. He'll give us a skinny.